چه پیرم تو شبی تو شبی تنگ در آغوشم کش تو شبی تنگ در آغوشم کش تا سحرگه ز کنار تو ز کنار تو جوان برخیزم تو شبی تنگ در آغوشم کش تا سحرگه ز کنار تو ز کنار تو جوان برخیزم
This is the sign from the gods. This is where we're going to make it. Then they went to Puerto Rico because we know what happened in Cuba after the war, right? And that, my friends, is why Bacardi uses the bat on their logo. Being a Catalan brand is tied to a story from this valley. On the other side of the mountain, the same story, but a little boy beat the drums, making them think that our infantry was bigger. So it depends, again, on what side of the mountain you're on, the culture and everything, okay? Now, I want you to bring your attention to the right. The building that we saw earlier with the nuns is going to be right down here as soon as we come out of the tunnel. Now I want you to look down at the after the tunnel and tell me what is in the backyard of the property. Right here on your right, down below. Remember, it's where the nuns live. A nunnery, a monastery, a convent. What do you see in the back? A swimming pool. You ever seen a nun swim, sir? No? Me neither, huh? It begs to ask the question, right? Are they doing synchronized swimming? Are they wearing bikinis? Yeah? Who knows? Actually, no, folks. Those are reservoirs to combat wildfires. Remember, the staff and also the monks are trained to combat fires while the fire department gets here, okay? But it's nice to think that maybe they swim under the cover of the moonlight, or maybe they'll wing the next Olympic event where they go for a synchronized swimming competition. Very well? France is that way. Remember I asked you to remember Hercules, the ship, and he founded Barcelona, the mountain, and he did the Mediterranean, but he also loved a woman who was half Fey, half Catalan. When she passed, because she was attacked by wolves, because you gotta love those Greek telenovelas, okay? He buried her here in the valley, and he stacked rocks on top of her grave to make one of the most memorable mausoleums, because without science, everything is mythology. So the Pyrenees is named after the lover of Hercules, and the princess name, Pirene. That's how we come up with the name. Today, with geology and science, we know that it connects both big bodies of water in Spain. It's our natural border with the French. Believe me, we haven't always gotten along, okay? And it has the only country on the planet that is not only a tax haven like Monaco or like Switzerland, but their official language is Catalan, Andorra. We already have a country in our planet that speaks Catalan as their official language. Very well. That you can practice your Catalan in Florence, in Sardinia, in southern Germany. Remember, the Aragon crown before Hispania was much bigger, okay? Over here on the right, the rock bed from Gong. Look at the modern hippies. They've painted aliens on the rocks. And UFO zone. This is the famous rock bed from 1973, my darlings. Yes? And you can also see, or you probably saw some salt mines in the area. The salt mines, folks, is because when you work a modern job, you work for a salary. But salary, it's the Latin word salario. You're talking about salt payments turned into money payments. Today, the charcuterie and the cheeses that you ate are actually curated with salt. After, bacteria can't live with salt or silver. After 4 years of cure, up to 7 years of shelf life. If conquistadors didn't have this kind of food items, when Columbus was lost for 2 months, he would have never survived the trip. They've made a huge role and impact in our culinary arts, and today they're one of the most sought-out food items when you visit Barcelona. Very well. All right, now another story. How many of you drink a Red Bull once in a while? Whoa, no? How many of you have a GoPro that you like to take on your adventures, right? Oh, all right. So, darlings, there was a guy from Norway, his name, Alexander Pauli. And Alexander Pauli had a vision that he wanted to thread the needle. So he came here to Montserrat and quietly jumped through a hole in the mountain. But when they got winks of this, they came here and they set up GoPro cameras everywhere. And then they also gave him some Red Bull, because Red Bull gives you wings, right? And so Alexander Pauli actually on the third jump documented the jump. Now, in a moment, you're going to have an advantage because you're going to see the jump site when everybody else just has to see it on YouTube and imagine what it must have looked like. So right now, in a moment, we're going to see the jump site. You are currently driving under where Mr. Pauli flew from the top peak of the mountain. He was dropped off in a helicopter, okay? So, I want you to bring your attention to the right side, and right over the rocks, we have the Camel Rock. Don't worry, because just like Mr. Pauli, we get 3 opportunities. On this next one, I'm going to ask, can you see it?
Yeah.
We call it throw. I would like to add that we like to remember Mr. Pauli for his successful ventures. He unfortunately lost his life 6 years later in a stunt in France, right? So very important. And the last thing I want to show you folks is look how we farm. You see those little islands down there or farms? We don't do valleys like Napa. We do regions like Bordeaux. Why? Because there's 3 reasons why we do grapes the way we do here, folks. Number 1, if there's a fire, remember that our flora is prone to drought, so it holds a lot of water. That will actually stop the fire from burning too fast and allow you to extinguish it before it destroys your farm. That's number 1. Number 2, they don't compete for nutrition or hydration. Each island has their own source of nutrition and hydration. But the most important one, and one that I tend to think is very funny, have you ever heard of sommelier? They take a sip and they go, I can literally taste the oak tree on a fresh rainy morning at 6 a.m. in the Catalan countryside. And you're like, dude, just shut up. You already sold me the wine. Don't overkill it. Well, folks, science teaches us that grape skins have the ability to get surrounding flora and fauna in their attributes. So you might taste apricot, apple, oak, tobacco, whatever, pomegranate, but it's all just grape skins. So here in Catalonia, the winemakers, the wine masters of these areas, they actually want to put as much as we can of our nature into our product. And that, my friends, is why Pla de Valles has its own denomination of origin. But in Spain, Rioja, in the north of Madrid, where we use Tempranillo grape, is actually number 3. Next to Tuscany, and number 1 is Bordeaux in the world. So the way we grow wines here, you should definitely try them, because they're very earthy, they're very full of life, and we feel like it's not just the artisanal art, it's also the magic of nature in our products. The grapes here grow small with a high fructose. The French people came up with a concept called Champenois in Champagne, France. If you don't know what a sparkling wine is, folks, you take a white wine bottle with sugar in it and you put yeast inside. You put it in a Riddler rack with 99 other bottles and it does this. By the time it reaches the same angle that you keep a champagne bottle at the same temperature, because if you set it up right, the yeast comes back. Yeah, so we make the Champenois method using just nature's fructose versus French, who normally use processed sugar, because we have the sunny side of the Pyrenees. So now France is buying more grapes from us in order to make champagne a more comfortable price point if you want to drink brut nature. If you've noticed, champagne normally starts at brut. They've had to add sugar to make the bubbles. Here, you can buy for €5 a cava, which is champagne with a different name, right? That is brut nature and is magnificent. And you will never achieve a cava sangria if the champagne or the cava is too sweet. So that's another thing that I would suggest, folks. If you haven't tried Cava Sangria in our city yet, it's a yellow sangria with a cherry and a lemon, and it is magnificent. Super good, right? Cava, Grand Marnier, cognac, then or brandy, and you have Fanta, orange and lemon. Magnificent. So if you folks hadn't figured it out, guys, you should definitely try the Cava Sangria and all that we have here in the area, because these are ancestral arts, guys. Sangria gets a bad rep because back in the day we were making it to put down bathtub wine, but that's long gone. Sangria is a great product today, right? But it gets a bad juju. Okay? All right, darling. So that's about.
No, I was just giving you guys the opportunity. You guys decide 7 records spots this year, like 2 weeks ago. Eric Clapton. That's right. That's on the Obono. The year before, a lot of artists. Very artistic. Yeah, people like Messi and possibly
Olympic antenna. When you see it in a moment, it is actually a person, walks of life, authors, painters, buried in this magnificent mountain. And your tour guide, so it's mostly farmlands, right? As you saw today. So these containers that you're about to see over there on the right-hand side were originally used for chemical goods, but today they've been reissued to do grains and seeds. The breadbasket of Europe was on the east. Nowadays, we are the breadbasket of Europe. You will find the highest production of sunflower, flax, and other types of seeds. And yeah. Now, who is the biggest producer of olive oil to the world? It's an obvious one.
Italy.
Spain. By 40%.
Oh.
We destroy Italy by 40% olive oil production every single year. So, folks, you have to catch up on the natural products that we have here. Now, why did we build this here, folks? Because we wanted to be an arrival and departure city. Remind me, was anybody here from Florida? No, right? No, okay. So, when Floridians come on my tour, they're like, hey, you know what we say in Florida? You guys are the Miami of the Mediterranean. They're like, do you know why? I was like, of course I know why. We're the biggest port terminal in Europe for cruises. And we're the 4th biggest on the planet. We're an arrival and departure city. But Miami has and always will be number 1, right? So, people call us the Miami of the Mediterranean. But you have other ones like Honolulu, which is number 2 in the world. You have Cape Canaveral, number 3, and we fall under number 4. So think about that. The first 3 are Americans, from the United States, I should say. And then the 4th one is the biggest one in Europe, right? So we get a lot of business here, folks. I meet people from Disney Cruises, from Richard Branson's Virgin Cruises. You know, we have a ferry that takes you to Rome every other day. And because we're within the Union, you can hop in the ferry with your personal vehicle from Barcelona, drive around Italy, and come back home, right? So it's actually quite interesting that we have those options. Folks, we can fit 7 cruises per day. That's a lot. Normally we hold up to 4, but if the demand calls for it, we'll push it up to 7. And that's when our city crashes. So for locals, we consider the port terminal our thermometer for whether we should make reservations, buy groceries, or whatever it is we need to do, because the city's about to crash. Yeah? When you try to hail a cab, they're not there. When you call to make a reservation, all the dates next to yours are whited out, right? So that would be my suggestion, darlings. If you're ever coming back to Barcelona and you want to gauge how busy the city will be, try to see how many cruises are scheduled for the period you'll be back in the city. Works very well. All right, so as we continue on, folks, in just a moment, you should be able to see the W Hotel on the right-hand side in the distance. How many of you have been to Dubai or to Abu Dhabi? Nobody? Well, me neither. But I do know that they have a magnificent hotel by JW, not a Marriott. You know, JW has many different collections. That is in the. It's actually a 6-star hotel or 7 stars, and it's one of the tallest hotels on the planet. But we like world art here. So the W Hotel that you're about to see past the containers is actually a carbon copy of the one in Dubai. And it's also the JW, because there's no Marriott's here, but there's a JW Barcelona. And this one is called Hotel Sail, Hotel Bella. Where the hotel is, okay, in a second you'll see it, everything to the left and right is man-made beach. The only real beach we have is a peninsula called the Barceloneta, where they found that Hercules ship crashed, right? What does Barcino mean? Barcino is a Latin word for barquito, which means small boat in Spanish. That's the original name, right? So, we built that hotel, and I can see it now, on top of the only real beach that Barcelona has. It's a peninsula. When the Romans arrived, they decided on the city because it stops the waves, and it allows us to have a port. Yes, naturally. Also, folks, if you've ever been to the Vatican, with my official ID, I can scan my QR anywhere in Europe if it's government owned, and I walk in for free. The Louvre, many places, right? The Colosseum. But when you go to the Vatican, they're like, you gotta pay your ticket. And I'm like, but what do you mean? I'm an official guide. I can go anywhere in Rome. They're like, this is not Rome. This is the Vatican City, the smallest country on the planet. And when you go to Barceloneta, make sure you know, it's not Barcelona. It's a peninsula. It's its own separate thing called Barceloneta. And what do they thrive in? Fisherman culture. And they have the greatest seafood options at the Barceloneta for the city. If you like paella, great. The original paella is with rabbit, but the seafood one is much more popular today. Yes? But I would urge you to try fideuà. Fideuà is the Catalan paella, but because we're not as Arabic and more Italian, we're going to make a paella for you with pasta instead of rice, called fideuà. And the best place to get it is on the beachfront, okay? Now, we're coming up on a very important plaza, folks. First of all, the trees you see on your sides now here are called London planes. These trees dominate cities that are industrial. They're cross-pollination by London, and they combat carbon emissions. The reason why you have shade is because they have leaves in the summer, they shed them in the winter. Magnificent tree, right? You'll find them everywhere that there's an industrial city. But Mr. Guel was the richest man in the country at the time, and he was in corduroy and silk production. Do you know the store Zara? Zara? Z-A-R-A?
Zara.
He's the richest man in the country today. And as a matter of fact, Bad Bunny did a concert just last week in Madrid and the week before here in Barcelona. And he's still in town because they're doing a collaboration between Bad Bunny and Zara. By the way, guys, pick it up here. What's 30 euros in the store here is 200 abroad. So you might as well pick it up here. But not much has changed, folks. Mr. Guel was in corduroy and silk production. And that's why those trees on your left are silk trees. Can you see the silk? On the right side, we also have silk trees. You see it? Those are silk trees on the right as well. Now, the last wall to stand is that one there. After the Industrial Revolution, we developed human rights, and the farmers, the factory workers, destroyed the walls, and now we're the size of 2 Manhattans. But this was the limit to Barcelona, and you can literally enter the city through that door right there, that gate. We left it here to remind you of a time where Barcelona was still kept under Roman walls with mass migration, mass pollution, and some of the most horrible living conditions on the planet. That's why Gaudi decided to add farmers' human towers as the sentiment of Sagrada Familia, using the thick towers representing the human towers. Very well, their sacrifice. It's tied to this building here on your left, which is the Meridian Museum, guys. Look at it. It has the arc from the 10-euro note, the shanty roof, the weight on the outside. It's a 100% original building from those times. The Meridian Museum, the Royal Shipyards in medieval times. And in front of you now, Mr. No GPS, No Clue, Columbus' statue. He's pointing that way. If you're going back home to the Americas, go that way. He's pointing the wrong way, okay? There's also hemp on there, because the theory is that he introduced tobacco to us, but because they use hemp on their ships, he introduced hemp from Asia to Americas. Another thing is that there's stairs, and the first touristic outing ever is to go up an elevator which still operates today. And you can get a view of the ports of Barcelona. Where have you seen that before? In Liberty Island in New Jersey, Gallery in New York. And we married the statues in a shotgun wedding in a ceremony in Las Vegas, and our statues are still married till this day. That's how we buried center called Mare Magnum. It's open all year long. And the gondola station from 1888 that allows you to start at the beach and finish on top of the mountain. These bars on your right were Olympic bars, but today they're just swirly bars that make no sense. On one of these though, you have a lobster. The lobster on the right is made by Mariscal, the same guy who made the mascot for the Olympics. He put the lobster here to show people visiting the city that the best seafood options are on this side of the city. And we talked about all these New York artists. How about Roy Lichtenstein? He gave you this face on the right. This is the face of Barcelona, guys, welcoming people for the 1992 Olympics on the right side, Roy Lichtenstein. Yeah? And so, we have on the right Picasso's first flat. Picasso's first flat on the right side, and his first school on the left, where he became the youngest student ever. And I want you to look to the right, folks, because the building was a guy who exploited Cuba. Check it out. You're going to see Medusa, Neptune, and all the conquistadors. This is a time capsule from arts and crafts. Picasso moves here and he goes, who the hell are these people? And he creates the Art Nouveau movement that we know today. Who we are today, folks, are who Gaudi and Picasso. Gaudi was vegetarian in the 19th century, guys. These were very progressive humans, right? So, and to finish up, this fountain here, you remember the pooping doll? That's because we didn't have any water closet. We didn't have any bathrooms. So after you break up with your ex, or after your boss fires you, or after you quit, guess what? They're all at the fountain with you because everybody hangs out around. This is the first photo in all of Spanish history. Google it. This fountain here. So Picasso moved to an area that, through just the nature of destiny, honed his abilities as an artist, and the rest is history. Had he moved somewhere else or stayed in Malaga, he probably would have been suppressed by more close-minded people. But Barcelona has always offered artists and people that have become legends like Messi the opportunity to make a name for themselves. And with that, my darlings, let's close off with the only way we could ever close off, with a huge applause for our driver, Carol. She did a magnificent job, guys. Not bad at all. And we're about to be parking, so make sure you grab your stuff up top, down low, in between your seats. These seats eat phones and wallets, guys, so make sure you have everything. Let's face it. How awkward would it be if I have to sell it back to you on eBay tomorrow? Bathrooms in the station, taxis as well, an entire neighborhood to explore. The #1 paella in Barcelona, in the restaurant under the Arcs, where Picasso's family used to dine. We have free museums, botanical gardens, Gaudis from 1888. Whatever you want to do, don't be bashful, folks. Just ask me. And as a parting gift, everyone on board will get a special little gift from us to show you how thankful we are for coming to see our magnificent Virgin in our monastery here today. So when we get off the bus, guys, I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to hand you guys a little image of the Virgin Mary of Montserrat for you to take with you. So she also brings you the Catalan prosperity and all of the love that we share here for you. And their beloved Spain is always here, folks. So whenever you want to come back, send us your friends, send us your enemies. We don't care. Yeah? We'll take everybody. All right? I will see if, well, we'll let you know when it's time to get out. Carol will let us know when we made a complete stop. And I'll see you right out front the bus.
Okay. Very cool.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a marvelous day. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Obrigado.
对对对，
然后你再丢进去。
是，那因为它这个几十分对我很
哦，对，这个梦还是这个，我有点忘了。哇，这么麦当劳这么多。Carl's Jr.，又是一个 Taco Bell。麦当劳很多。
对，这个好像是
灯谜
哦，不知道这好不好吃。
喜家德美
哦，这就是你们吃过的这个。
365。
哎，所以这里
社区深入研究，
深入社区
这里深入研究他们
我们比较
当地的
local，可是要
对
他们这里
韩国人。